Xbox does not care about the studios they just shut down. Actually, let me be more specific. Microsoft doesn't. There is a much bigger picture going on than I think the average person realizes. With the recent layoffs, many are asking questions like, what the hell is Xbox doing? And is Game Pass even profitable? These are very important questions, and I did my best this week to put the pieces together, and I think there is a much bigger picture going on than what many realize. I have a lot to break down, but no, I think Game Pass is just the appetizer to the main course. Microsoft recently announced major layoffs, over 9,000 with an array affecting studios they just recently acquired. Studios got trimmed, titles like Perfect Dark and Rare's Everwild got cut. Is Xbox just floundering and failing? Many would say yes, and I think there is some truth to that, but overall, no, I don't think they are failing, but they do need to cut the fat. Now stay with me. I think the payoff will be worth it because there is a lot to evaluate before we chalk it all up to Xbox being lost or disconnected. We need to lay some serious foundation. Let's first back up and look at the big picture. Gamers are looking at the situation and not looking at the whole forest, and I don't blame them. They love the medium of gaming and we all want, well, good games. Not mediocre games, but to look at this without considering the parent company is short-sighted. So let's look at Microsoft and the picture will become clearer. In the most recent earnings call, Microsoft laid out that they made $70 billion in revenue. $70 billion. And that's only one quarter. Compare that to Nintendo's roughly $11 to $12 billion for the entire year. To be clear, $70 billion isn't all profit, but everything they brought in. Let's unpack how that $70 billion breaks down and where Xbox fits into the big picture. Revenue in productivity and business processes was $29.9 billion, 43% of the 100%. This is where the boring money lives and the serious profit. This includes Microsoft 365, Word, Excel, Teams, Outlook, and LinkedIn. Revenue in intelligent cloud was $26.8 billion, 38% of 100. This is the real future and the real reason Microsoft's stock keeps climbing. This includes Azure, which is their cloud infrastructure, AI integrations, and server products. Revenue in more personal computing was $13.4 billion, 19% of the 100%. This is the fun stuff, but it's the smallest slice of the pie. This includes things like Windows OS, Xbox, Game Pass, and things like Surface devices. So Xbox is part of more personal computing. It's not the only light item there, but just part of that category. So at the very most, Microsoft is getting less than 20% of its revenue from Xbox. They are getting way more revenue on their other products like Microsoft 365, AI, and their cloud infrastructure. Now let's look at how much each of these categories are growing. Revenue in productivity and business processes increased 10%. Revenue in intelligent cloud increased 21%. Revenue in more personal computing, 6%. Specifically, Xbox grew 8% though. Now, let's pretend you have two money-making machines. One is producing $5 bills, and the other is making $1 bills. Not only that, but the $5 machine is growing over 20%, while your $1 machine is growing at a measly 8%. Where are you going to put your time and resources? 100%, it's going to go to the $5 money-making machine that is producing more and growing quicker. And if you can find a way for that $1 machine to feed that $5 machine, you are going to do that. And that is exactly what Microsoft is doing with Xbox and Game Pass. They have found a way for the $1 machine to feed the $5 machine, and I will show you how. And it gets more complicated and bigger than that. I am just starting here, neighbors. I got a recipe and all I need is for you to give me time to cook. The first part of that recipe, I am sure some of you are aware of, but probably not all. For those who don't know, let me introduce you to SaaS, Software as a Service. You know how everything is becoming a subscription in your life? You can't just buy stuff anymore. It's all subscription based and on monthly payments. Netflix, Spotify, Game Pass, iCloud, probably your razor blades. I mean, seriously, if plumbers could put your own toilet on a subscription model, they would. At this point, your entire life is a software as a service product. Because for companies, it's the closest thing to guaranteed revenue that exists. You are a returning customer, and that is worth way more than selling you a one-time product. This is where Game Pass comes in, a subscription model for Xbox where you can pay up to $20 a month to play the latest and greatest in Microsoft's arsenal. And that arsenal, it got real loaded after Microsoft went on an acquisition spree so aggressive, I'm shocked they didn't unlock an achievement for it. They picked up Activision, Blizzard, Bethesda, Obsidian, Ninja Theory, basically anyone not nailed to the floor. So now Game Pass gives you access to massive franchises like Elder Scrolls, Doom, Diablo, Fallout, and more. It's the Cheesecake Factory of gaming. 90% of it you'll never touch, but it feels good knowing it's there. A lot of people love Game Pass because it allows you to play their big AAA titles day one. Well, in their ultimate tier, their top tier of $20. It offers great value. You don't need to pay $70 for a new game when you can just pay $20 to get access to the whole catalog. Side note, this is a great time to watch my latest video on video game pricing and how game companies are giving you less and less for your dollar. Back to the topic at hand. As you know, Xbox is pushing to the $80 price tag. And this trend of rising prices only benefits Microsoft. It's a classic sales technique called price anchoring. To lure the customer into the product you want, you make the top tier more expensive so your product, Game Pass, looks like a great value. And then everyone goes, oh yeah, $20 is a steal. And just like that, you're in their ecosystem. One of 35 million subscribers feeding the machine. Xbox now gets a steady $10 to $20 from you every month without lifting a finger. Congratulations, you are now not owning your games. You're renting access on repeat. You're not a one-time buyer, you're a recurring one. And that's the end game for every modern company. Predictable, repeatable income. They don't need to chase you down to get you to rebuy. You already are. So businesses want to grow their software as a service products. It's more recurring revenue. Now, Xbox has pretty much admitted they've hit their TAM. That's their total addressable market, or in plain English, the total number of people they think they can realistically get to subscribe. And right now, that number is hovering around 35 million, and it's not really growing. So how do you grow your pond when your pond feels tapped out? Simple. You go looking for a bigger pond. Xbox has been confusing everyone with the "this is an Xbox" marketing campaign. What does it mean that nearly everything with a screen is an Xbox? Well, it's because of their other products at Microsoft. They have massive servers and cloud products. You can right now go grab your phone, go to xbox.com, sign up for Game Pass, and play Expedition 33 on your phone as long as you have a Bluetooth controller to hook up to your phone. No Xbox required. You can play on your phone, tablet, smart TV, pretty much anything with a screen. Microsoft is expanding their TAM, their total addressable market, by targeting everyone with a screen, not just console owners. And guess what? It's working. They've reported millions of hours streamed. For the non-sweaty gamer, that's a win. No more dropping $500 on a console. Just pay $20 a month and dive into AAA titles straight from the TV that you already own. That's scaling up from a pond of Xbox and PC users to the ocean of anyone with a smart device. The console isn't the gateway anymore. Game Pass is. Welcome to software as a service. Ka-ching. But Cupcake, you ask, isn't Game Pass not even profitable? They don't even include first-party development costs into their math. You ready for this? It doesn't matter if Game Pass is profitable. Yes, you heard me right. It does not matter. What? How does that make sense? Don't they want to make money? Yes. Yes, they do. And this is where it gets real. Remember, look at the big picture. Where does Microsoft make a bulk of their money? What is growing the most? Cloud servers and AI. And what does AI need to get better? Data. During the tail end of my research, I stumbled across an interview Satya Nadella, the CEO of Microsoft, did on the Dwarkesh podcast. It confirmed some of my theories and opened up others. I will link the podcast and any other articles I reference in the description below. I really want to encourage you after my video to go to his and skip to the 43-minute mark to get the full context instead of my cut-up clips. Now, let me play you a few, and please stay with me, and I will tie it all together. Here's how Satya doesn't like to play in the small leagues.
That I was more making the point was, is it one winner?
Right.
Or is it a winner take all or not? Like,
Right.
because that you got to get right. Because categories, I like to enter categories which are big TAMs, where you don't have to even have the risk of it all being winner take all.
Right.
Right. I mean, so if you're running, like the best news to be is in a big market that can accommodate a couple of winners, and you're one of them.
Right.
Okay, theories on TAM, correct. But let's continue. Here he is talking about how it's important of him to make sure he is utilizing every part of Microsoft for the betterment of the company as a whole.
Gaming has got a long history at the company, and we want to be in gaming for gaming's sake. And that's I always start by, I hate to be in businesses where they're means to some other end. They have to be ends unto themselves.
Right.
And then, yes, we're not a conglomerate. We are a company where we have to bring all these assets together and be better owners of by adding value, right? So, for example, cloud gaming is a natural thing for us to invest in because that'll just expand the TAM and expand the ability for people to play games everywhere.
Cool. Just like I thought, Xbox will be used in some form for the bigger picture. Now, I said data was important. Let me introduce you to Muse.
Let's dig into the other big breakthrough you've just made, and it's amazing that you have both of them coming out the same day in your gaming world models. I'd love if you can tell me a little bit about that.
I think we're going to call it Muse, as what I learned is they're going to be the model of this world action or human action model. And this is very cool. See, one of the things that, obviously Dolly and Sora have been unbelievable in what they've been able to do in terms of generative models. And so one thing that we wanted to go after was using gameplay data. Can you actually generate games that are both consistent and then have the ability to generate the diversity of what that game represents, and then are persistent to user mods, right? So that's what this is.
Mm-hmm.
And so they were able to work with one of our game studios, and this is the other publication in Nature. And the cool thing is, what I'm excited about is bringing, so we're going to have a catalog of games soon that we will start sort of using these models, or we're going to train these models to generate. And then start playing them.
I can't stress this enough. Muse is so much bigger than gaming. It's going to be for world and action models. Basically, with Muse, it won't be limited to just making games. Yes, it will be used for that, but it will be useful to any creative that wants to generate 3D worlds you can interact with. And gaming is the perfect training ground to train AI on world and action models. And what does Microsoft currently have access to? 35 million players and massive cloud servers people are playing on. Massive amounts of gaming data.
Think about gaming data as perhaps, what YouTube is perhaps to Google, gaming data is to Microsoft. And so therefore, I'm excited about that.
Now, Cupcake, you say. They would need our permission. Son, they are one end user license agreement update away from making you agree to it. Let's look how they got the data to first see if this was possible. They got it from the end user license agreement with Bleeding Edge, a game under one of their studios with Ninja Theory. Data used for training the model were covered by an end user license agreement to which players agreed when logging in to play the game for the first time. Data for training were provided through a partnership with Ninja Theory, who collected a large corpus of human gameplay data for their game Bleeding Edge. Now tell me if I'm wrong, if I'm looking into this too much, because essentially my theory is this. If Game Pass is currently profitable, cool. And if it's not, it's okay. The data is worth more than its weight in gold. Microsoft will, in time, with your permission, will use your gaming data to create the AI leader in world and action models and will profit off of people and companies paying to use that model. And by expanding access to Game Pass, they now have a steady, consistent stream of data to feed their new AI, Muse. And Microsoft isn't stupid. They know what gets people subscribed to Game Pass and keeps them. And it's most likely not original titles that take 10 years to develop. A large corporation like Microsoft probably has internal surveys which show exactly why people sign up and what keeps them subscribed. My guess is as long as they have a semi-consistent stream of AAA titles that are at least decent, with a sprinkle of some classics and just a few smaller titles, is enough to keep the average person subscribed to their service. So when Microsoft lays off and trims these studios, they are just trimming the fat. They know what feeds the machine. That was pruning. Microsoft knows exactly what keeps Game Pass subscribers paying. Big IPs, familiar names, just enough sparkle to keep the illusion of variety alive. So yeah, Xbox doesn't care about these small studios. Passion projects don't drive retention metrics. Game Pass isn't trying to impress you, it's trying to keep you on auto-renew. Xbox is now just a funnel feeding Microsoft's real priorities: cloud growth, AI development, and locking in a long-term monthly spend. Oh my goodness, I feel like Charlie with the board. I could be wrong. Who knows? That said, please feel free to fact check me. Seriously, I can only do so much research as one man in a week, and I am not omniscient, and sooner or later I have to actually get this essay out. I welcome counter arguments, and if there is something I missed or got wrong, or you think I got wrong, let me know in the comments below. That said, thanks for watching, and